Tonight, we are learning more about a woman found dead after a 911 hang-up call in Copperas Cove yesterday.
Through this life, I feel your presence by my side.
Thursday, April 7th, 2022, 12:25 in the afternoon, somewhere inside a house on Hobby Road in Copperas Cove, Texas, a phone dials 911. The call lasts less than 30 seconds. Before the dispatcher can ask a single question, before anyone can say a name or an address or please help me, the line cuts out. But before it does, not a TV in the background, not kids playing, screaming raw, desperate, the kind that tells a trained dispatcher everything they need to know before a single word is spoken. That is how this story begins, not with a crime scene, not with a body, with a woman's voice and then silence. Now, I need you to stop right there and sit with that for a second, because I want to ask you something. Have you ever had a gut feeling that something was wrong and waited? Have you ever watched someone you care about stay in a situation you knew wasn't safe and told yourself it wasn't your place? Have you ever seen the red flags laid out right in front of you and looked the other way because it seemed easier? If you have, this story is going to cost you something, because the flags were there. They had been there for years. And by the time that officer arrived at Hobby Road and put his boot to that front door, the woman inside was already out of time. Her name was Destiney Jassmund Carey, 33 years old, a nurse, a business owner, a mother of 6 children who called her everything because she was everything. The kind of person who walked into a room and made it feel different. Her daughter Desiree said it plainly. Her laugh just lit up the room. She wasn't waiting on life. She was already 3 steps into the future 2 boutiques open in Killeen, a nursing career running in Georgetown, a 3rd business location being built out in Dallas, and a fitness competition career on the side. This was a woman who had built something real from nothing on her own terms, and the man she was married to, he could not stand to watch it. But we're not there yet, because to understand what happened on Hobby Road, you have to understand who Destiney was before any of this. You have to understand what was at stake, and you have to understand the man who decided that if he couldn't have her, no one would. Hit that subscribe button right now, not for the algorithm, but because stories like Destiney's are happening in cities just like yours. Right now, today, the warning signs we're about to break down in this video, they show up in real relationships. They might be showing up in one you already know about. Don't miss what comes next. By the morning of April the 7th, 2022, Destiney Carey had already made her decision. She was done. She had a plan. She was getting out. And that decision, that single act of courage, is the reason she's no longer here. Welcome to Unseen True Crime Stories, where the darkest secrets and untold cases come to light. Consider subscribing and tapping the notification bell. That way you won't miss our next true crime story. Let's talk about who Destiney Carey actually was, because in stories like this, it is dangerously easy to reduce a person to the worst moment of their life, to let the tragedy swallow everything that came before it, to remember the victim and forget the human being. We are not doing that here. Destiney also went by the last name Cannon from a previous relationship. 6 kids, and she wasn't their mother in title only. She was the engine of that entire household, the one earning, building, showing up, and still somehow finding time to grow a brand and expand a business while raising children and working as a licensed nurse. Think about what that actually looks like on a Tuesday. She didn't start with a storefront. She started on Facebook, posting outfits, modeling her own clothes, building a customer base, 1 comment and 1 shared post at a time. No investors, no backing, just a woman with a vision and the discipline to execute it before she had any reason to believe it would work. And it worked. By 33, she had 2 physical boutique locations in Killeen High Saturday Boutique and High Saturday Shoetique, both at 1103 West Veterans Memorial Boulevard. Over 3,000 followers on the boutique Instagram alone. She was nursing in Georgetown, competing in IFBB Wellness, and actively setting up her third business location in Dallas. Her sister, Destiney said it without any hesitation. She worked hard to give them the best of what she could. She was a hard worker. She was so positive. She wanted everybody to do good. That is the woman we are talking about. That is what was taken on April 7th. Now here is where the story turns. By the spring of 2022, Destiney had made up her mind about her marriage to Kevin Frazier. She was filing for divorce. She was taking her children, her businesses, her future, and she was walking away clean. To most people in her life, that would have sounded like the best decision she'd ever made. But Kevin Frazier was not most people. You've been watching for a few minutes now, and you already know this isn't the kind of story you shake off easily. If someone in your life right now reminds you of anything you're hearing, pay attention to that feeling. Stay on this channel. Share this video, because we're about to get into who Kevin Frazier really was. And the warning signs were there over a decade before Destiney died. Here is the thing about men like Kevin. They don't lose gracefully. They don't sign the papers, wish you well, and move on. Especially not when the woman leaving them has built something they could never build themselves. Especially not when the world is starting to know her name. Destiney was direct when she spoke to reporters. Kevin was jealous. Not of other men, jealous of Destiney, of her growth, of her momentum, of the gap that was widening between where she was going and where he was standing still. That kind of jealousy, the kind rooted in insecurity, in ego, in a need to control what you can no longer keep up with, that is one of the most dangerous forces inside a relationship. And Destiney had been living inside it. She knew, and she was getting out. April 7th was the day. Kevin Frazier was 37 years old on the day he killed Destiney Carey.
Leaving him.
Don't hide now, Kevin. Show the world. You nosy. What?
Scream yourself.
No, scream you. You nosy.
Pull up his Army record and you get a certain picture. He enlisted in July 2004, served 12 years through April 2016, reached the rank of Staff Sergeant, held 2 military occupational specialties, Public Affairs Specialist and Cannon crew member, deployed to Iraq twice, once from December 2003 through March 2005, and again from August 2006 through October 2007, received commendations, left with a record that on paper looked like a man who had served with discipline and purpose. That is one version of Kevin Frazier. Here is another. In September 2010, while he was still an active duty soldier stationed in Killeen, police arrested Kevin Frazier on suspicion of assault with bodily injury. 1 month later, in October 2010, he was arrested again, this time for violating a magistrate's order. 1 month after that, in November 2010, he was arrested a third time. Violation of a court order. 3 arrests, 3 consecutive months, 1 calendar year, and every single one of them pointing at the exact same pattern: a man who used physical force against someone close to him and then refused to follow the legal orders put in place to protect that person. Let that sit for a moment. This was 2010, 12 years before Destiney Carey was pronounced dead on her living room floor. The behavior was already documented. The violence was already on record. And somewhere between those 2010 arrests and April 7th, 2022, Kevin Frazier married a woman who was building a life, and he spent the next several years making sure she understood that life belonged to him too. Now ask yourself honestly, does the 2022 shooting feel like something that came out of nowhere? Or does it feel like the end of a road that had been going in one direction for a very long time? Right now, someone you know is in a relationship with a person who has a record that looks exactly like Kevin Frazier's in 2010. And they've been told that was a long time ago, or he's changed, or it was just one time. If this story is making you think of someone specific, say something to them. And stay subscribed, because every week on this channel, we pull back the curtain on exactly how these patterns work before they become a headline. By 2022, Kevin and Destiney were sharing the house on Hobby Road. From the outside, nothing visible. One that is almost always how it works. The violence stays behind closed doors, behind a man who has learned to look one way in public and act another way at home. But Destiney had seen both versions. She had been living with both versions, and she was filing for divorce on April 7. Her sister Demetria said it plainly. Kevin was jealous of Destiney's success, of the way her name was growing, of the expanding gap between her trajectory and his. There is a particular danger that comes from being with someone who resents you for becoming more than they expected, and Destiney had been navigating that danger for longer than anyone outside that house fully knew. She wasn't naive. She wasn't blind. She had made her decision, and she was moving. But here is the detail that is going to stay with you. On April 6th, 2022, the day before Destiney died, the Copperas Cove Police Department's daily bulletin listed a report filed at 1002 Hobby Road. No charges were filed. Read that again. Police were called to that house on April 6. There was a documented family violence incident, and less than 24 hours later, at 12:25 p.m. on April 7th, a 911 hang-up call came in from the same address with screaming audible on the line. The system had one more opportunity, one more opening to put something a charge, a protective order, an arrest between Destiney Carey and what was already coming for her. It didn't. So what happened inside that house on the night of April 6th? What did Destiney say to Kevin? What did Kevin say back? What did those 6 children see or hear? We can't know everything, but we know this. By the next morning, the decision had already been made, and it wasn't Destiney's. If you've watched this far and you're still on the fence about subscribing, I want you to do something. Go to the comments right now and tell me why. Tell me what a story like Destiney's has to look like before it's enough.
Before drinks. What? This, I think this is my drink. I don't know what's the name.
Was it in the middle?
What?
It was in the middle, right?
Where is my drink at?
This shit tastes like straw. I sipped it. This shit tastes like straw.
Okay, go find my drink then.
Tell me what it takes. I read every single comment on this channel, and I think the answer you write might end up surprising you more than it surprises me. At 12:25 p.m. on April 7th, 2022, a responding officer pulled up to Hobby Road. He knocked on the front door of the house at 10:02. From inside, a male voice told him to wait, but the screaming hadn't stopped. The officer didn't wait. He kicked the door open, and what he found on the other side of that door set off a chain of events that would reach a Coryell County courtroom, expose a pattern of violence stretching back over a decade, and leave 6 children without the woman who had built their entire world from scratch. The most devastating part of Destiney's story isn't the violence. It's how close she was to getting out. She needed one more day, that's all. One day. If this story is sitting heavy on you right now, that feeling matters. Subscribe. Share this video, because the next time that feeling shows up about someone in your real life, you'll know to act on it. Destiney didn't get another chance, but someone you love still might. The officer knocked. A male voice said, "Wait," but there was no more waiting, not for Destiney, not for her 6 children. Oh, and not for Kevin Frazier, who was about to find out that this time, the law was already at the door. The officer didn't hesitate. The moment it gave way, gunshots rang out from inside the living room. A bullet tore through the front window, ripped through the officer's left pants leg, and drove a shard of glass into his skin. He didn't retreat. He pushed through. On the floor near the front door, Destiney Jassmund Carey, face up, not moving. The officer dropped to her and started life-saving measures immediately. It didn't matter. Destiney was already gone. Justice of the Peace Bill Price pronounced her dead at the scene. Across the room, Kevin Frazier was on the living room floor, gunshot wounds to his torso, wounds that investigators would later describe as consistent with self-infliction. He had planned to kill her and then himself. The officer's arrival had interrupted the second half of that plan. Frazier was transported to Darnell Army Medical Center. He survived. Then the interviews began. Detectives sat down with Frazier 3 times, once at the scene, once at the hospital, and once at the Copperas Cove Police Department after his release. Each time the story shifted. details changed.
Yeah, police identified her as 33-year-old Destiney Carey. 6 News anchor Jasmine Caldwell spoke to her family today and learned she was a rising entrepreneur in the Central Texas area and even a business owner in Killeen.
Well, yeah, I'm outside of Destiney Boutique. It's owned by Destiney Carey, the woman who was shot in Copperas Cove yesterday. I spoke to her family and other small business owners who say she's gonna be missed. This is the home on the 100 block of Hobby Road where Copperas Cove police say Carey lost her life. On Thursday, police responded to a 911 hang-up call and discovered Carey dead in the home. They also found 37-year-old Kevin Frazier with a gunshot wound. I spoke to Carey's daughter today, who was too heartbroken for an on-camera interview. But she did tell me, quote, "My mom was a hard-working woman who took care of all 6 of us. She was a nurse and she had 2 businesses in Killeen and was getting ready to set up a 3rd location in Dallas. My mom always wanted to be happy." End quote. She went on to say, quote, "She was always a fun person to be around. Her laugh just lit up the room. She was everything. She always wanted to help others out with their kids, their businesses, and much more. She was always welcoming." Carey was a small business owner. Her clothing and shoe boutique called Destiney Boutique is located on West Veterans Memorial Boulevard. According to Copperas Cove police, Frazier is still in the hospital as a result of that gunshot wound. Carey's daughter tells me that Frazier is Carey's husband. Reporting in Killeen, Jasmine Caldwell.
His account of how the shooting unfolded could not be reconciled with the physical evidence at the scene. And critically, his version of events did not match what the medical examiner found on Destiney's body. The wound pattern, the trajectory, the forensic reality, none of it lined up with what Kevin Frazier said happened inside the house. The gun was recovered, a Glock 27 semi-automatic pistol, and it told a story that Kevin's words could not undo. He was arrested the same day, taken into custody by Fort Hood military police without incident, charged with murder in the 1st degree and aggravated assault against a public servant. Bond set at $1 million for the murder charge and $750,000 for the assault. In June 2022, a Coryell County grand jury handed down a formal indictment on both counts. Kevin Frazier was remanded to the Coryell County Jail, where he remained as the case moved through the Texas court system into 2025. On April 13, 2022, 1 week after Destiney was killed, her family and the community she had built gathered outside her boutiques on Veterans Memorial Boulevard in Killeen. They released balloons into the sky. 6 children stood without their mother. Her sister Demetria, who had taken guardianship of all of them, held the family together the way Destiney had always held everything together, quietly, fiercely, without asking for recognition. The boutiques went quiet. The Dallas expansion never happened. But Destiney Jassmund Carey was not forgotten. She was talked about in the same breath as ambition and resilience, and what it looks like when a woman refuses to stop growing. Her Instagram still carries her image: a nurse, a competitor, a mother, a builder. She was 33 years old. She had 1 more day to go. Destiney built everything she had from scratch for her kids, for her future, for herself. And it was taken in a moment that the system had every chance to prevent. If this story moved you, share it. Put her name in front of someone who needs to hear it. Just subscribe to Unseen True Crime Stories, because every week we tell the stories that don't make the front page but absolutely should. Destiney deserved better. So does the next one. This has been Unseen True Crime Stories. Stay aware, stay safe, and never ignore what your gut already knows. This is the kind of story Unseen. True Crime Stories is dedicated to sharing, not just for entertainment, but for vital, grim lessons. If this story stirred something in you, if it made you think, then you know you need to be here for the next one. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. And if you're still scrolling past without joining, I have to ask, what truth are you afraid to face? What essential understanding are you willing to miss out on? Tell us in the comments. We'll be here continuing to shed light on the shadows, because sometimes understanding the darkness is the only way to find the light. Thank you for watching.